Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Surbhi Unial, and in today's lecture on Inculcation of Human Values and Professional Ethics class, we'll be discussing an interesting concept on the notion of the self and your inner wisdom. Today, we are going to explore something fundamental, understanding who you truly are. This isn't abstract philosophy. It's about developing practical skills for navigating life's challenges and building meaningful relationships, also finding fulfillment. Let's start with a simple question. Who are you, or who am I? Most of us immediately point to our bodies or our thoughts. But the Indian philosophical tradition offers us a more nuanced framework that recognizes three interconnected dimensions: body, mind, and consciousness. Body, which is sharir, is your physical form. It has needs like food, rest, safety. It sends signals like hunger, pain, pleasure. But notice something remarkable. Your body changes constantly. The cells in your body replace themselves completely every 7 to 10 years. What does this mean? Are you the same person you were as a child? Your body has transformed entirely, yet there is something that persists. So if the body changes, do you also change, or do you remain to be the same person? The mind, or manas, is more subtle. Your thoughts, emotions, memory, and personality. Your mind is constantly active, planning, remembering, worrying, imagining, making decisions, etc. It's the narrator of your life story. But here's something interesting. You can observe your own thoughts. Let's say when you're anxious, you can notice, I'm feeling anxious. This suggests something deeper, something that witnesses the mind without being identical to it. What is this I which is saying that I am conscious or I am anxious? Here comes the third component, which is consciousness or chit. It is the deepest layer of pure awareness that witnesses everything else. It is you that observes your body and watches your thoughts without being swept away by them. This consciousness is stable and unchanging. For example, when you are dreamlessly asleep, your thoughts disappear. Your consciousness still remains. This is what the sages point towards when they ask, who am I? At the deepest level, because you are not your body, you are not your mind. Then who are you? This understanding naturally leads us to a crucial question. If we have these three dimensions, how do we explore them? This is where self-awareness becomes essential. Self-awareness is the foundation of everything we are discussing today. It's the capacity to observe yourself objectively, to notice your patterns, triggers, strengths, and blind spots. Without self-awareness, you're like ship without compasses, reacting to every wave rather than choosing your direction. Self-awareness is the deliberate practice of examining your inner world. Think of it as becoming a scientist of your own experience. You might keep a reflective journal, asking questions like, what triggered my anger today? What patterns do I notice in my responses? What truly matters to me? You might practice mindful observations, throughout your day, pausing to check in with yourself, noticing what you are feeling and thinking without judgment. But what and why does this matter? Because self-awareness creates space between stimulus and response. When someone criticizes you, instead of immediately defending yourself, you can notice the surge of defensiveness, observe it, and then choose how to respond. That space, that's where consciousness operates. That's where freedom lives. This practice of witnessing, of observing your body's sensations, your mind's movements, prepare us for a profound insight from Vedantic philosophy that takes self-understanding to its deepest level. Vedanta, the philosophical system derived from the Upanishads, make a revolutionary claim, that is, Atman is Brahman. Your true self is identical to the ultimate reality itself. Atman here refers to your essential nature, not your body, not your changing personality, but that unchanging consciousness we discussed earlier. It is the witness, the awareness that has been present throughout your entire life, observing all changes without itself changing. When you were 5 years old, you were aware. Now you are aware. Same awareness, but different contents. Brahman is the ultimate reality, the ground of all existence, not a personal God somewhere, but the fundamental consciousness that pervades everything. So the Upanishads declared Tattvamasi, that thou art. The consciousness witnessing your experience isn't separate from the ultimate reality. It's like waves thinking they are separate from the ocean. So the waves has a different or distinct form, but its essence is always ocean water. This teaching addresses our deepest existential anxiety, that is, the fear of being isolated, separate, insignificant. When you realize your true nature is this universal consciousness, you develop a sense of connection to all existence. You're not lonely ego fighting for survival. You're an expression of the cosmos knowing itself. You become less attached to the changing conditions of body and mind. Your true self cannot be truly harmed, and you develop genuine compassion if the same consciousness looks out from everyone's eyes. How can you harm another without harming yourself? But this isn't something to just believe intellectually. The sages say this must be realized, experienced directly. And this is where the modern practices of emotional intelligence and mindfulness become the bridge between ancient wisdom and daily life. Emotional intelligence is your ability to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions while also recognizing and influencing others' emotions. It connects directly to everything we have discussed. Self-awareness is recognizing your emotions as they arise. Self-management is using that awareness to choose your response. Social awareness is recognizing that same consciousness in others. And relationship management flows naturally from this understanding. So mindfulness is the practice that develops these capacities. It's simply paying attention to the present moment deliberately without judgment. When you practice mindfulness, whether through formal meditation, mindful eating, or simply pausing to notice your breath, you're training yourself to rest in that witnessing consciousness, rather than being swept away by every thought and emotion. Here's the beautiful connection. Let's say mindfulness is essentially practicing awareness of consciousness itself. You are learning to identify with the witness rather than with what's witnessed. When you can observe, I am feeling angry, rather than I am angry, you have created the space for choice. That space is consciousness dimension operating in your life. Research shows that regular mindful practice strengthens brain areas involved in emotional regulation and self-awareness while decreasing anxiety. So you are not just your body, not just your racing thoughts, not just your fluctuating emotions. You are the conscious awareness in which all these arise, and that consciousness is your connection with the everything that exists. This isn't just beautiful philosophy, it's a practical foundation for living well. When you develop self-awareness through regular self-exploration and mindfulness, you make better decisions, handle emotions skillfully, build authentic relationships, find resilience, and experience genuine compassion. As you know, one of the components of the final exam is Game of Go. This ancient game of Go is not just a test of strategy, it's an exercise in mindfulness and emotional balance. As you play, you'll practice the same principles we discussed in this lecture: awareness, patience, and choosing your responses consciously rather than reacting impulsively. In Game of Go, every move reflects your mental state. The ability to pause, observe, and act deliberately mirrors the practice of mindfulness and self-management that we have explored here. The game becomes a living metaphor for navigating life with awareness and intention. Further, the activity on Forging India will help you reflect on how we as individuals and as a nation can learn from failure and use it as a pathway to growth. The self-awareness you are cultivating today, noticing your thoughts, emotions, and reactions, is the same awareness needed to reflect on failure without judgment. While another activity is Classroom Charter, which invites you to bring your growing self-awareness into community life. You'll work together to define shared values and commitments that guide how you want your classroom environment to feel and function. The self-exploration you're doing now, understanding who you are, what you value, and how you relate to others is essential for creating a charter rooted in empathy, respect, and authenticity. When individuals act from self-knowledge, the whole community becomes wiser and more compassionate. So through this lecture and activities that you'll be doing in the end semester, remember that self-knowledge isn't acquired once and checked off a list. It's a lifelong journey. Knowing yourself is the beginning of wisdom. In a world of constant distractions, the ability to turn inward and connect with your deepest self is perhaps the most valuable skill you can develop. Now, the activity that you're going to do in the class will be the masks we wear. In this activity, this is an interactive reflection which will help you to explore the gap between outer image and the inner self. So all of you have to write down and discuss how others usually see you. That is, the roles, the traits or behaviors you show publicly. That is, the funny one, the responsible one, always confident. Then reflect on what lies beneath that surface. That is, your true thoughts, emotions, values and dreams that others may not always see. Share insights about why these masks exist, when you feel most authentic, and how self-awareness can help bridge the two sides. The activity encourages honest conversation, empathy, and a deeper understanding of authenticity in everyday life. I hope the lecture and the activity will be interesting and engaging for all of you. Thank you so much.